back to the Boardcast, and also welcome back, William.
Let's go. I'm back, baby.
That's the second time you've not been on the episodes, mate.
Yes.
We tried to replace you with John permanently, but it just didn't stick.
Well, if the
It's
rating
the,
of the episode's better than this one, man, you know what it means.
It's a One Piece season, so unfortunately,
It's like Survivor. We just have to eliminate one person off the podcast every week.
This is great. It's going to be a short run. Talking about surviving, how was Sydney?
it's pretty busy there. I don't like the Uber drivers in both Sydney and Melbourne.
It's just because you have to drive way more like, I want to say aggressively.
Aggressive. Very aggressive.
To get around.
And then they slam the brakes, and then they swerve left and right. I don't know. Like the guy was driving a car, almost puking in a car. I was like, what the heck?
I was like driving like a psycho.
Yeah. I was like, what's going on?
When I went to Dubai for work, it was the same thing there. To get out of the airport, they were like, it was pretty hectic.
You'd think Dubai would have good roads, right? Because there's
Great
brand new.
roads, just
the drivers.
The drive was not ideal.
Right,
Great
of course,
Ubers though, like all the minimum Ubers started like Mercedes and stuff like that. It was pretty
Whoa,
good.
fucking
Yeah,
hell.
normal Uber X, the regular Uber was like, oh, you got in a Mercedes.
What about Uber, like premium?
Wait,
what do you
not a-
get?
It was like Teslas and like Porsches and shit like that.
Damn, not a fair
Yeah,
shout
pretty
for the driver,
and,
right?
and not even
Gotta
any
drive
more
a
money
Mercedes.
than the thing. It's like you just get in a like fucking
Not bad, not bad. But yeah, Sydney is pretty hectic.
like I think we got an Uber premium and it was like a Infinity thing.
Ooh, not bad.
My mate used to
Have
drive
you
an Infinity.
have
It
you
was
been
nice.
to like Sydney and Melbourne?
I have, but I was younger and we took public transport, like the trains and the
don't
the
like
buses.
public
Did you do the
transport.
tramming?
Yeah, tramming's not
Trams are
bad.
fun.
It's a good way to get around.
I don't take public transport.
The problem is that drivers don't take the tram seriously.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? This thing is like 3 times the weight of your car.
The last time I was in Melbourne for work, I saw 2 people get hit by a tram on the same day.
What?
Yeah.
How?
A girl was like the first one was them in the morning and a lady was crossing the thing and she had headphones in, just didn't pay attention. The tram just slammed straight into her.
Oi.
She flew like 6 meters, bro.
Dude.
It was a whole thing and people were like, oh, and they were trying to help her up. And then people were like, oh, don't
Do you
touch
reckon
her.
the tram drivers are just like, sucks to be you, I'm not slowing
The
down?
tram driver didn't give a fuck. He
Yeah.
he looked, he watched it happen, and then quite quickly a supervisor came from the tram company, and they just sent him to another tram, and because they don't want him to be on site. They're like, oh, you have to go do an incident report, I guess. So he just got sent off, and it wasn't. He was like, I don't know. He was like when it happened, he's like waving his arms because I can't hear what he's saying. Obviously, I'm over on the street.
You can imagine.
But he's like waving his arms around there, like, oh fuck this
Not
shit.
my problem. Not my day.
And then the one later at night was also like a lady. She's
Wait, those trams don't go very fast.
no, bro, it
So
wasn't
if you
speeding.
if you get hit, that is your fault.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you're on headphones, I think the headphone problem is a problem.
Yes, yeah.
I think
Is
like
it-
headphones need to have like a alert. Like I think you probably like a AirPods with like a motion detector on the side. If like a vehicle's coming, like newer
AirPods had a
cars-
thing you can hold the AirPods so that it allows external noise in. You know that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You can change like allow external noise or full silent. I think a lot of people just full silent.
Yeah,
or something.
I would say
noise
so.
canceling. Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that's a function either.
Yeah.
But it's people getting hit by cars just on their phone or in headphones is actually pretty bad.
Natural selection.
You're not wrong.
I've crossed roads with headphones on. You just got to look. Just use your eyes, dude.
That's the scary part about that.
You got 5 senses. At least try to utilize one of them.
But the eyes on the phone.
Your
That's
eyes on the
thing.
phone, right? Yeah.
Ears on the earphone. That's
too
why I
bad.
don't listen to music.
What's the biggest
Well, then your
incident?
5th sense is you'll feel the car hit you.
What's the biggest incident you've had while being on your phone? Like we were just talking about why my phone is smashed, even though it's in a case. It's because I was watching The Simpsons while in the shower. So not ideal. It slapped into the ground and smashed on the back of the screen. Surely you've done something silly. While
I've
being on
walked
the
into a
phone.
pole before. It's happened. So,
Mine would be like I'll drop my phone and I'll go to catch it with my foot, but I'm wearing my steel cap
Happens
boots
all the time.
and I just boot the fucking thing as far away as possible.
you gotta like go with the momentum of the fall. So there's technique to the catching on your foot.
So I'm good because I don't listen to music.
Okay.
I mean, like while I'm walking or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just the natural sound of
Do
silence.
you want like a little bit of a ghost story?
What?
All right. So I used to like.
What is this? The Boardcast? Of course. Come on.
Gross story.
So I've done a lot of like long haul driving over the years, like in the truck, right? And I was driving back into Perth from up north. This is like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was actually during Northern Board's time, actually.
All right.
Anyway, I'm driving north and I'm driving south towards the city. And I end up getting stuck between 2 big semi-loaders. So it's like 2 big semi-trucks, like they're quite big. And they're going about 100. Usually most trucks that size are governed to 100 kilometers an hour.
Like
You can't
one
do
in front of you,
110.
one behind you?
Yeah, one in front and one behind.
Gotcha.
So I can't, for me to pull over, I needed to go pee. I needed to pee, right? But for me to pull over, I have to really slow down because there's a semi maybe like 15 meters behind me doing 100 kilometers and there's one in front of me. So I can't, if I pull over, I've got to slow down and slow down and slow down and then slowly come off the side of the road because it's not super safe. There's not like space. There's no anywhere for me to just pull off over the side of the road. I'm way too far out in the countryside. And like when you get closer, you get like pull off zones and shit, but you don't get that out there. And the roads are like not always the best either. You can't just pull quickly off the side of the road because the road just breaks apart.
Okay.
So it's like not good, right? So anyway, I'm like, well, pulling over the side of the road isn't really an option. And plus if I pulled over and I peed and then I got back in the truck, then I'm just going to get stuck behind both of the trucks. There's no chance of me getting in front of either of them, right? So the next option to is to urinate into a bottle while I'm driving, right? So I pull out my young fella and I get like a Coke bottle or whatever, or what I had spare, and I poke the end of my Scott Johnson into the top of the bottle, right? And you basically just like hold on to it and just shove it as much over the top of the bottle.
I'm waiting for the third euphemism.
Okay.
you just shove it in there as much as you can. So this is as much like
because you need to minimize potential splashback.
Yes, exactly, right? So you want as much sealed contact as you can. Anyway, while I'm doing this, I'm listening to the World of Warcraft soundtrack on my headphones, right?
Okay.
Because I don't know, some of those long distance things get like a bit long and I don't want to hear any more noise, but I also can't. Yeah. The trucks are really loud.
You just want something like peaceful. You don't need lyrics anymore. You just want something.
Because like the trucks are really loud. So if you just sit there with no noise and no nothing, like I can't get radio because there's no reception. I can't like listen to podcasts because there's no reception coming into my phone. So it's like, yeah, but if you just sit in the truck, it's just like heaps of squealing and noises and squeaking and like or the road noise. It's not like a nice car where it's compact and everything's soundproofed. Anyway, so I'm listening to the World of Warcraft soundtrack, and it changes and a really loud noise happens while I'm like urinating into the bottle, and the bottle's like half fullish.
Don't drop it.
And what happens is I drop the. I like startle, like jump scare. Like everyone, pretty much everyone who's been to the club has seen me get jump scared because I'm a fucking massive baby about it. And it kind of jump scares me, and I drop the bottle, and I'm like, I'm sitting. Imagine you're sitting in a chair.
Whose truck is this?
It's my truck.
Okay.
So I'm sitting. Imagine you're sitting on a chair. Now scoot your bum to the edge of the chair so that there's as much V-shaped space between your legs as possible.
Right.
So my bum's like sitting on the edge of the chair as I'm driving, and the bottle drops straight down between my legs and hits the ground.
Yeah.
And then because the ground is hard, the bottle lands perfectly the way it would be standing up. And then all the liquid forces up out of the water, out of the bottle, and covers me in pee-pees.
Shit. For how many hours?
So I'm coated in it, and I'm like, coated in pee. It was like 2 hours before I could stop. In at Gin was the nearest spot really there where I could pull over. But by that point, it had dried.
You just gotta coat yourself in like the nearest links.
Yeah,
Africa you got.
Just dried pee-pee, man. And I walked into there was no public toilet that was open at that time. So I walked into a petrol station, and I quickly rushed into the toilet and washed myself as much as possible. But at that point, I just had to accept that I was like, gross pee-pee, man. It's like
I've been in a similar situation. I had to spill it on myself, but the part is you always got to deal with the pee-pee bottle afterwards.
That's okay, man.
Yeah, you always got to find some empty bin in the middle of nowhere to throw it in, because you don't want to walk in anywhere and have you be known as the guy holding a pee-pee bottle.
So. You know what? I've never repeated the story. I've actually, outside of a very close circle of friends, I've never repeated the story.
Exclusive.
Now, we've spoken earlier on the podcast about some of the festivals that I went to when I was young.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Sure. So, what would happen at the festivals here in Perth in summer?
All right. Well, this is like, listen, if anyone's ever been to a festival, you've been to anything, all bets are off. Gross things just happen. All right. Just accept it. Because I get it. I get it.
So what would happen in the middle of summer? It's like between 25 and 35 degrees, right? And at some of the big festivals that were Soundwave, massive bands, there's a lot going on. You'd be standing in the crowd with sometimes thousands of people, and it'd get fucking hot. So what they would do often is they'd get water cannons, and they'd shoot water cannons over everybody and hoses. And they would also throw water bottles out from the stage, like a security throw from the stage into the crowd. And you'd grab the water bottle and you'd drink from it, and then you just throw the water bottle to the next person, right? And it was very consistent. It seems very hedonistic, but it's very common, right?
In the moment you're thirsty, you don't care.
Yeah,
Water.
you're so dehydrated. It's like horrific out there. You're sweating your balls off. Any water costs like $6.50, and back in the early 2000s, it's a fuckload of money for like a bottle of water. Now it's like I think at a festival some of the bottles are $12. It's crazy, right?
I remember when bottles of water were like $1.50.
Yeah, so that's what they should be, right? But at a festival, everything's marked up to hell. Anyway, I've been, and what would happen is like, because to get to the like front or like near the front of the festival, sometimes you'd go in from the band before or even 2 bands before that, because then when a big band comes on, it's like a massive rush and crush to get anywhere near the front of the stage. So I remember I was waiting to watch Killswitch Engage, right? And I've been there probably for 2 bands earlier that I couldn't remember who they are. I couldn't give a fuck who they were. But I was just in there as early as I can. I'm sweating. It's like 36 degrees in January in Australia. And a water bottle comes flying over towards me. And I'm like, oh, perfect. They're throwing a water bottle at us.
Oh.
I grab that water bottle and I swig it real fast.
No. Wait a second.
Yeah, it was definitely you.
Oh, no. Who was the dickhead that peed in the bottle, man?
So someone had peed in the bottle, which wasn't uncommon.
Dude, you're in the festival. Just piss on the ground, man. It's not that bad.
The peeing in the bottle isn't uncommon in those things.
But I don't think you can pee in the ground while in the crowd.
Bro,
right?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah. You
just like, you scooch
because you're so crushed in. Like I couldn't.
You scooch
Have you
over
ever
to the
seen
side
like the
and you just piss like secretly.
You seen the train videos of like India and Japan where everyone gets crushed in? Imagine that, but you're outside, but it's thousands of people.
Yeah.
So I'm like 4 meters away. I couldn't even see you. It's just crushed in people, and everybody's everyone's wet from sweat. Like everyone's soaked.
Yeah.
It was really like
How do you enjoy
My favorite part is
that?
that in the festival where it's so loud, no one could hear you scream.
Yeah. But it's
Okay.
like I was in that at that point. I was in that group by myself, like in that crowd by myself as well. And I had to I'd already swallowed some, so I had to spit out the rest of it on the ground.
Every part of your body just rejects the idea.
I just had to pretend like nothing had happened.
Danny.
And I've never told a girl that I've ever been with that's happened. And outside of a very close group of friends that were at that festival, I've never repeated that story. And I'm still not 100% sure if I should have.
There's a video.
Now it's gonna be repeated all the time. Just play. Just repeat 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
There's a video I've seen of the internet where like it was like, because you get really thirsty, right?
Yeah.
There was
Not that thirsty,
a
though.
crowd formed around a guy who was just like completely blitzed out of his brain, and he's like probably thirsty because he just whips his dick out and just starts peeing into his own mouth.
Wait, the coordination.
So he's like,
though.
so he's skipping all 3 steps. You got to piss, just piss right there. You got to drink right there. And then the third step
What's going on,
It's
bro?
like that dodgeball thing. It's
Why
like,
do you torture yourself that way, though?
dude, that guy was off his rocker probably. Yeah.
Like, do you
He went into survival mode.
I
He was
don't know.
Bear Grylls mode.
like this is not enjoyable?
to you, William.
I know.
It wasn't to me either, though.
Okay, if you enjoy drinking pee. Okay.
This is the weirdest hobby podcast I've ever been on. Eh?
That's also
Okay.
festival piss, bro. That's not good.
I'm good.
That's
I'm
dehydrated
glad that I'm
festival
not
piss.
into festivals.
Yeah,
I'm
but I had some amazing times. I feel like those early festivals, especially with like the heavy metal music, was as close to like what a battle, like outside battle would have
Yeah,
been.
people
in
used
like,
to mosh as well, just like casually. You don't
Yeah.
get that as much, I think, nowadays.
No, not at all. Have you seen like the it's really big in South America, and they have like the hardcore moshers, and they're basically just fighting each other.
Yeah, they just run into each other.
It's crazy.
Yeah. When the security is like, go for it. just wave at me if you're gonna die.
What is something that you miss, Kang? Like, what is something like you did and you missed it? Like something
Buying a
like
house.
Danny. No. Like something like Danny, like
Housing market of the 2000s.
going into like festivals, right? So Danny's this is something that he liked to do. It's like,
I think what I miss is like that, like when you're young and you have just all the energy and all your mates, like the older the older you get, the more you filter out your friends, right?
Yeah,
your friends
just
for more
naturally
specific
happens, right?
reasons. But when you're like younger, you're just big crowds of people just going into places, doing the things, enjoying the moment. I actually had a moment recently where I was like, I'm like 27. I don't consider myself old, but I'm definitely like no longer in touch with like the youth, no longer in touch with those like 19-year-old, 20-year-olds. because I'm still at studying Köln because I've been a dropkick when I was young and didn't fucking get a degree. But now I'm trying to get a degree at 27. Anyway, I'm at Köln and I'm walking around and there's this brand new developed block at Köln. This whole new space has finally been built up. There's like restaurants, student accommodation. They got one of them nice IGAs with the self-service machines and all those snacks and foods. I was walking around and everyone there was like dressed nicely, looks nice, and they're young and youthful and all these cool fun things. And I was like, oh man, I missed out on this. And I felt old.
You were hanging out your Marangaroo IGA.
Yeah. I couldn't. For the second there, I was like, oh man, I'm the oldest person here out of this entire space. And I'm only 27.
No, there's a guy working behind the counter. You'd be fine.
No, they were definitely younger. Everyone working there was also students as well. So, but it was nice, man. Those universities, they get real nice. It feels like something out of a TV show.
That's the thing you're missing out. Really, is like it's not the experience that you expect to have when you go to like university, like the frat.
Yeah, because I'm about to like graduate, and now I'm like, all this nice facilities are here. Fuck, I missed out.
you could just go back there and hang out. I'm sure that happens.
Oh, dude, hello, fellow kids. Yeah, but you know, it's like the classic TV show of like, oh man, I'm gonna move to college and live in a dorm room and all that. So,
yeah.
So is that something you miss? Cool.
Yeah, I did it for a year. I gave it a try, but it wasn't worth it.
Oh, so you've moved out and lived for a year?
I gave it a try. It wasn't worth it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty silly though. It's so close.
I convinced myself I was going to study while being closer on campus.
Was it the complete opposite?
Yeah. Did not. I flunked that year.
Was it booze or games?
Everything.
Everything.
It was like, why go to class when I'm so close to the city and I can go get food and drinks?
Okay.
Yeah. The young what is it? Your brain fully develops that like decision making part of your brain.
How
at
much money
23,
was spent on the accommodation though?
It wasn't too bad. It was just more like everything else. It's like the accommodation is not a big deal. It's like because that's like a factor you expect.
So
but what you don't expect is all the little things like.
Is your parents paying for your uni or you're paying for yourself?
Hex. The government is. You guys all are paying for my uni.
But you got an old government though in interest though.
Yeah.
I might just lower your wage by the amount of hex I'm paying you.
Well, I got to start paying it back at some point.
Yeah,
So
no shit,
at some point, you're going to start to.
Well, because I've had so many different staff over the years, quite a few I've worked with them to juggle how much they're being paid on the books, quote unquote, so that their heck can be more or less of how much is actually getting taken out of their thing, right?
Don't your hex got interest?
It does, but if I don't look at the number, it doesn't exist to me. If I don't look at the number, it can't hurt me, Will.
Yeah, I guess it's like any other loan, right?
It's fine. I'm
The
fairly.
interest gonna kill you though.
No, I'm like 99% certain I have like in my savings enough to pay back my hex. If I really wanted to, I could just pay it off right now.
You should.
Yeah, why would you not do that?
I need a new car.
No, you don't need a new car.
You definitely do not need a new car.
You need to wipe off your hex.
No, the hex that like the interest isn't that bad.
It's interest. It's not interest that bad. It's interest.
Yeah.
Is it? What's the loan? Sub 40 or up 40?
Oh, way sub 40. It's probably
No,
like
no. I don't want to know about amount. I want to know the interest amount.
I have.
Well, maybe, but like interest on 40 or more is going to be way
makes
more
a big
painful.
difference.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
Like interest on $4,000 is who cares?
Well, they did change.
But then also just
they
pay the
did
full
change what the interest was a while back. So
wait, let me
I should
check. Hold on. I'm gonna check on my.
Yeah, check like what the hex like loan interest is in 2024. I'm curious.
Wait, how do you spell hex?
HEC.
What?
Yeah.
HEC interest.
It's also known as help loan or something like that. There's a few ways to describe it. Everyone's
What
on their
is
phones
current hex? Holy sh! It's 4.7%.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's like a bank loan.
it's a lot, bro.
I should pay it back.
Yeah. What the heck? If it's compounding, you're dead.
Don't look at the number. Can't hurt me.
What's the worst financial decision you've ever made?
Me?
University.
Yeah, uni.
Uni?
Yeah,
Because you didn't finish either, right?
I didn't finish. I spent. My parents paid for my uni though.
Were they
It's
fucking
also
mad?
no.
Because
It's,
Asian, you just.
it's financially more sound because not only do you not have a loan with interest, but also most universities offer a cheaper discount if you just pay it upfront.
So
ends up
in
cheap- it ends up
Asia,
being cheaper.
like most of parents pay for your uni.
Yeah.
There's no loan. There's no such thing as a loan.
What I should do is just start paying for my tuition instead of taking out more loans.
Yeah, you should, bro. Stop compounding your interest.
You're in your last year, right? You got one more year.
Yeah, effectively.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on uni, and I didn't finish it. I feel it's like a waste of money. I could have used that money for like better things.
Instead, I'm spending money on good food and getting gout.
I graduated in 2009, so I'm like Australia's absolute peak level of like went and did scaffolding on the mines and bought like a jet ski, or you went and did uni and got a Bachelor of Arts. Like I know so many friends who have Bachelor of Arts who are like forklift drivers now, and that's not a dig at them, but it's like they were convinced.
The stats have come out of like I think I remember reading the stats, and it was something like 68% of like our degree students are working like a job not in their degree.
Well, what I really feel like it was the ultimate convincing of like the system that you leave school and you go to uni. And there's so many kids so many friends that went and did uni stuff that just had no business being at uni.
Well, university is a business, so it's in their interest to like get people more in, right? That's why universities will like pump out all these degrees that don't even get you a job, but they're going to pump it out so that it's a business. So
to me, that's it. I think that's pretty much my worst. Not worst. I mean, I had to do something because I didn't know what I was going to do. No, I knew what I was going to do. And I halfway through uni, I'm like, I don't think this is suitable for me.
You know how I got?
And I stopped. I cut losses. I stopped loss.
Yeah.
Cut your losses and stop loss.
William was a big like return on investment kind of guy, and he was like, "Let's see a return on investment."
Like, no. You gotta cut it off. You can't keep bleeding though. How much blood do you have?
Yeah,
you have to like bandage it and then like stitch it up. Like,
you're
up.
Yeah.
Mathematically and business wise, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah,
and that's the difference between doing something like a passion project like Northern Boards and taking the time to turn it into something that's financially viable, because it definitely wasn't at the start. But it's like the time where it changes around, probably it's January this year, when it starts to look more like a business is when I treat it like a business.
Yeah,
and
you should.
What it wasn't that I didn't respect the business enough not to treat it like that in the first place, is that I was too like spread thin over like the other businesses that I've been, anybody who listens to this podcast, it sounds like I've had 15 jobs in the past 3 years. And it's mainly because there's a part of it I have. But I think if you got to respect your business and the situation you're in, you have to treat it like that. And like, it's almost like if they're injured, if the horse is injured, like put it down, right? And it's kind of like the same mentality with the business. Is unless you have another agenda, if you're in it just for money, which really business you should be most of the time, like 95% of the time, then yeah, if it's not working, you shouldn't. Whereas I think for me, I'm the like Northern Boards and a hobby place like this has more of an agenda, like the community and the community side of it, and the passion and the people that are there are such a big part of it. It's worth holding on to and trying to create something important, finding that way to make it a viable situation. And that's so different compared to when I did the small business development and dealt with people's financials when they were like with the farms and I mostly did farming guys up north. And I approached those super differently, where I'm like pretty harsh. I was like, this guy's got to go. This is a silly investment. You got to cut this. You're paying X amount of money for I don't know, two-way towers and stuff like that. Like two-way towers. While iPhones existed, people were still spending $3,000 on two-way tower connections. I was like, you can't afford this at all. Like, and it's an iPhone with a Telstra SIM card is going to do the exact same job that this two-way tower is going to do. It was just little stuff like this.
Stuck in their old ways.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like people are used to that, or they don't.
When you still have Foxtel.
When you have like a big profit and loss sheet, and you look at all of the things that are going out, sometimes it can be so much that you skip little things. You look at what you're spending money on for the month, and you see big things like for like a lot of the farmers, it's like truck repairs and hail bays and animal feed and all that kind of stuff. So you miss little things like a $3,000 bill for your two-way tower once a month, but you might have 2 or 3 of those throughout the month because you've got different farms over the state. And then at the end of the month, you've spent 15 grand on two-way towers, but you don't. It's just 15 grand doesn't seem a lot when you're spending 190 grand on hail bays, right? But at the end of the year, you've spent like fucking 120 grand on that. And if it's shit that's like, and then you add that up with 6 other things they didn't really need, crazy amount of money getting spent. But it's just little ticks away. And in a small business, it might be like, a Spotify thing, and then a Netflix thing.
That's me right now, where like I try to limit the amount of subscriptions I have, but the other day I had a subscription come out that I didn't even realize what it was.
Didn't recognize?
And I was like, $8, what the fuck was this? And it was the subscription so we could have a little jingle. The Boards podcast.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
So now that we've got the jingle on the front of the podcast, we're going to stick with that one, right?
Yeah.
And now
we can shake it up every now and again. I don't mind the idea. But
what are you paying? Do you have to pay a subscription to keep that, or just to find it?
I think it was just a sign up fee. I'm gonna cancel and see what happens.
Okay.
If we started getting like a copyright strike, then I'll go back to give them.
Hey, if we get
$8 a
big
month.
enough, they're going to copyright strike us. I'm A-okay with
Yeah,
that.
that was the idea, right? Have like, can we put like a big song, like a nice popular
Yeah, I
song,
think so,
on?
yeah.
And then if they go after us, it's like
Just go for something crazy like I don't know, like Happy by what's his name?
yeah, Pharrell.
Yeah, Pharrell. Just go for something really big and just see like what's most likely.
So
to
going
get
back to the food and the gout. So I had gout, right?
Yeah,
just the other day.
Is it
like,
confirmed gout or theoretical
Probably.
gout still?
It's theoretical gout.
Okay.
But it's the best I got at the moment. Right? You
Sure.
got to go off like knowledge of what I have. But I just started feeling better, and in the middle of the day, I was at uni and I ordered myself like a Japanese curry, and then I ordered myself a beer and then a cocktail. And I was like, I was sitting there by myself having my food, drinking my beer, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I deserve gout.
It's weird, William. I don't know about you, but like every time Kang explains anything about his uni, none of anything sounds everything about uni ever. Like it's the least. Are you studying with a cocktail? What's going on?
It's because who wants to hear about what I'm actually learning? It's not very exciting, guys.
Yeah, but whether it's on the podcast or it's a conversation I'm having with you outside of here, it never ever sounds like you're doing any
hold on,
study.
hold
the
on.
highlight isn't about the study. The highlight is in between my study, I go get some food.
It's fair.
Don't you want to like graduate ASAP and get out of there?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where it turns into two dads and
But I
Kang.
also want to get food, while I'm there enjoying the experience.
Okay.
I don't want to.
But you already enjoyed the experience. How many years have you been in Curtin?
Oh, man.
Look, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
How many years do you
I
want
think
to
I'm
enjoy the
approaching.
experience?
I think I'm approaching like the 6th year now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about enjoying the experience though?
6 years is about right for part time.
He's trying to find a wife.
Yeah,
In uni.
Yeah,
Okay.
isn't that what most people do?
I guess
Kind
so.
of,
Okay.
right? I don't know.
Okay.
If you were to find a
I'm
wife,
not
now,
experienced in finding wives. All right, William's the
Okay.
wife man here.
it's true.
Okay.
Yeah. But going back to Melbourne real quick in Sydney, right back to the beginning of the podcast.
Like, I don't want to shit on Kang too much because I want him to feel like he can't tell us about the cocktail that he's had during lunchtime. But I've also got to take every
was,
opportunity I can to shit on
It
him.
was a highball. It was a whiskey highball.
Oh,
So
I love good highball.
The heck? How do you serve alcohol in uni?
everyone there's.
They said it's a business,
It's
right?
a university. Everyone's over 18, probably.
Okay, fine. I never had alcohol in my uni, so
I'm telling you, man, that new area is real
Maybe
nice.
you would have graduated if you were
nah, I doubt so. I was always skipping class for like business, like work and stuff.
He's skipping class for productive stuff. I'm skipping class to drink.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like you hear so many success stories of like really big entrepreneurs and people that made it and they were in uni and they started a thing in uni and then they quit halfway through, right? I think there's a big part of like realizing, and it's not for everybody, but realizing that you can only learn so much there and then it's time for you to go do the thing.
Correct. The ideal is that while you're in university, like you meet people that like have like-minded folks that also want to learn, and then you kind of propel yourselves like together up because like you'll bounce off each other, share knowledge, share experiences, and while you're also there, you're talking to a lot of like professors, building up like networking and experiences, and it's more about what university really is just a more structured way for you to get into the field, so you're not just stumbling away by yourself. You kind of just go.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
But anyway, Melbourne and Sydney, I learned that all the roads are basically those shitty roads where you can park on the side and like the one-way traffic. What a nightmare.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's what?
WA is best.
WA
is
is
the best.
very
West is the best.
drivable. We're like an extremely drivable
We
state.
we
'cause
are
we have real roads.
organized.
Yeah, that's true.
We have actual roads. Like, like our like 2-lane roads that you get everywhere. Over in Melbourne City, that's basically a highway.
Yeah.
So like all them like crappy
No
like in the
toll.
city one-way roads.
No hook turns.
You tend to find that in like any of the cities that are older, right? Because they've, they were built literally 100 years ago, and like sometimes designed, like literally designed for like horses and carts, right? So it's like you only have so much space in between things, and then they've got to start buying buildings and knocking them down.
I don't care if Melbourne and Sydney is cooler. They just don't have the roads.
Is it cooler? Has anyone ever actually said that they're cooler?
Yes.
Yes.
It is cooler.
Oh yeah, it is
By a
cooler.
lot. Yeah.
Sydney's
Sydney's turning.
All right.
It's on a bell curve of getting out of being cool because it's a fucking nightmare there.
All I ever hear nowadays is that like it's so stressful.
Turn
to
on
live
your
in those-
Uber Eats right now and see how many stores is open.
But it's just so
right?
stressful to live
None.
there, right?
If you go to
Is it-
Sydney, everything's open. Everything at 12.
yeah.
It's like a real city. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get like food at 12. I was like looking at the Uber Eats on Sydney. I was just like, talking to some friends, like, hey, want to get some snacks? And I was looking like, hey, you can get pizza at 12 a.m. Like this Italian
I feel like
restaurant.
pizzas
No,
you should
hold
get.
on. This Italian restaurant is still open.
Oh, like a proper Italian
Yeah.
restaurant.
I was like, then we checked next.
Any highlights of your trip then while you were there?
The midnight pizza.
Nah, not really. I lost like I know early into the tournament.
Were you
like,
shit?
Yeah, pretty shit.
Too many beers the night before.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I was practicing, but it was shit.
Was it harder competition, you reckon? Or you just got a bit unlucky?
I got unlucky, a little bit unlucky, and it was definitely tougher. But yeah, definitely unlucky some bit. But it is what it is. Sometimes if you just don't see your cards, you just
How long
lose.
were you there for?
I was there from Friday to Sunday.
Oh, so quick, in and out.
Yes.
How did the rest of your Eternal team go? Pretty well?
I got two top 16s.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. We saw that like the one that happened here in Perth, it was like majority of your teams. Like almost exclusively
Perth,
majority of
there's
your
a lot
teams.
of-
Yeah, pretty much like 10.
The photos of like the champs, and it was like, oh, there's so many Eternal Magic shirts. Like it's pretty good marketing.
In the Sydney one, then did any other team also get into like the top?
Well,
Any other teams?
I don't know. I don't know if you call them teams though. So
Because like I always wonder if like the top player is it a team player guy or is it just like an
I think
individual?
they do have a team. I think there's like a Queensland team, and then like some like
So would you
team with friends and stuff like that. But
Would
a
you
proper
say
team.
that a team environment just breeds better players?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you
So
gotta
you
train
you
together.
just you practice together. There's a push to push each other. Like what you said in uni, like like-minded people want to do better for themselves. So you play together, and then you want to improve, and you always you practice. If you practice with a better player, you become better as well.
There's a big part of and this happens with competitive sports, which makes a big difference for these card games, right? Is when you sit down with an opponent at let's say you do a Sunday event here, in 7 Point Highlander. If you don't know the guy and you're just playing competitively against each other, somebody wins, somebody loses, and you can learn what you can learn from your version, like your biased version of the game.
yes. Yeah.
But as a teammate, who wins or loses, you both then can sit there and deconstruct the game, and you can give your opponent, who's your teammate, is going to give you advice of what you've done wrong, what you could do better, and then you can do the same thing for your teammate. So if you only ever leave each game and you've got to learn singularly by yourself what you can do better without the advice from your opponent, because even when there's someone for the average person, they're going to leave. If they beat, they're a bit salty, they don't want to fucking tell you, or if they win, they're just thinking about the next game they go to win. But as a team member, that learning phase is super, super important, and that's such a massive advantage you can take away from that, especially for something where you have card games like One Piece where there's different archetypes. How hard is it going to be to physically learn through the internet, watching videos of every archetype and how to beat each one? Having teammates go in where different people are specialized in different roles or whatever the archetypes they're playing, and they can go in. Like when you send a team over, are they all playing just the top meta archetype? Or
Yeah,
do people,
definitely.
So that everyone do you as a team, do you guys decide which one's better?
No, you choose out from the top decks, and then you pick what suits you.
So for One Piece, because with Magic, you've got Moxfield and EDH Rec and stuff like this. These websites will indicate is there a thing for One Piece where it's
there is.
what are we looking at for
It's
that?
called One Piece top decks.
Yeah.
One Piece top decks?
Most
Yeah.
of the time, it's more about just people tracking other tournament data and seeing what's doing well.
Yeah. I know in Warhammer, the data control from the guys who do the
Best case pairings, big tournaments.
the big tournaments, but there's a few guys that do incredible work, pulling that metadata out and working that stuff out. Is One Piece the same kind of thing?
Yeah, because deck from a similar meta deck. Let's say you have the black decks, right? So you could have two top black decks, but have different builds. So one build is pretty much build A, and then the other one is build B. So you can see which one works better, and also you'll have to see what's their matchup as well. What is the let's say in Oceania. So a lot of people here don't play this kind of deck. So you kind of tack towards not that deck.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So in Italy, in Europe, so a lot of people play this deck. So you gotta tack towards that. Things like that. So it's just a hit and miss.
It's working within the meta.
Yeah,
that
pretty
it's
much.
yours,
You
yeah.
kind of
Learning your environment.
Yeah,
is huge.
environment is pretty huge.
You're talking about talking to your opponents as well. A big part of what's not is not said as much about in games. A huge part of learning is also just the mindset and the decision making that's required of your opponent to beat you. And it's a really, really great skill, and also learning how to counter that as well.
Yeah,
Like the amount of times, if you ever get the opportunity and you play against a good player, like just be like, hey, what was your decision making and why you did certain things? And you can learn so much about how you should approach your decks as well and how you should play against that. It's a huge part of learning. And I think in a team environment, you get a lot more of that because everyone's more open to share the knowledge because you're in a team. You're supporting each other.
That's right. But I'm pretty happy with Perth though. So because it's home ground, right? And then we managed to like snag more than half of like the
Perth's breeded a lot of like really good One Piece
Yeah,
players.
that's right. So it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Like I think a lot of people are pretty salty about like the whole thing's black.
Is the meta game just like one color at the moment?
No. It's very healthy at the moment. I'm just saying like everybody's wearing a black shirt.
Yeah, the photo. Yeah, the photo. The eternal. Like, but you just need to call it an eternal photo, essentially, right? Like, it's pretty
You
impressive.
can't go wrong with like wearing all black though.
Well, I think about it from any other industry. Like, if it was a darts league or the AFL, like if everybody in the top thing was just all the same team, it's pretty fucking strong. But it's also like a testament to like yourself and the team that you've got to like pick the good players and put the time and effort to work in. Because like people don't just like magically get good at these games. Like it's funny with like sport. There's a lot of skill and training and effort that goes into being there, but there's also like a level of genetic like disposition that will give you the step up to even get in that position in the first place, right? Whereas like with the card game, no one's just naturally good at playing card games. Like people can be naturally smarter, naturally like better at picking up patterns or whatever, but you come in at the same entry point as every other player.
It doesn't require the same level of like genetical disposition.
Yes. Yeah.
No physical.
So you can have genetical disposition, boy. Old school darts tournaments. Darts, don't care. Not a sport I care about, but what I do care about is the trash talking. There's like old school dart tournaments where like it looks like something out of a pub, and then like you watch a guy stand up, like he just does a drag of his dart, smoke, like just quickly dunks as like long neck and walks up, talks shit to his opponent, throws a dart. Best tournaments to watch. If you get on YouTube, just look up like old school like darts tournaments.
Like 80s darts tournaments as well.
Dude, it's a wild, hectic time, man. And every single one of those darts guys is exactly how you measured it. It's just like some beer going chubby Irishman.
My New Zealand family, they're really into the darts and watching the competitive leagues. And there was a guy in the like mid 2010s. He was really, really popular as one of the best players. And he'd go into the darts tournaments with just different hairstyles every time. Sometimes they were like big, crazy, whatever. Anyway, this one time,
it's like the Dennis Rodman of darts.
Yeah, no, you're not far off, man. Like sometimes he had like different colors and stuff in there. One of the event tournaments he went into, he announced to all his fan club that he was going to go in with a purple mohawk. So then in the stands, while the people like, the arena where people are watching him, there was like thousands and thousands of people also with purple mohawks. So like completely shaved heads. So a lot of clearly white guys with like your pure white skin heads but purple mohawks in the middle. And then they're in the crowd and it's just like a sea of them. It was like pretty cool.
That's good. I can get behind that culture, right?
Yeah. I like it. Like it's like a supporting like a fan, like like wearing the Dockers like scarf.
You got any fans? You got any Eternal Magic fans?
Oh, we do.
Team Eternal fans.
They do. Like people ask, like, "Hey, where can we get a hoodie? Like, can we get this playmat stuff like that?"
Oh, so other people are waiting for their hoodie to arrive as well, are they?
Yeah.
Out of stock.
Limited, mate. Limited.
Well, that's what we're playing a bit of a game earlier. We were looking at where the Eternal Magic's stickers that ended up around the shop. They're building up. They're collecting there.
It's like you probably can get find the Eternal Magic and win a prize.
So recently, I don't have a lot of time to like get into a hobby here and there as well, but I did actually make an excuse for one of our like listeners and one of our friends, Francois. He had his birthday recently, and he hosted this very, very cool like board game night where it's a game called Diplomacy. And Diplomacy is this board game from way back in the day. It's been a fair few revisions. And the essence of it is that it's set in 1901, World War I Europe, and every player plays like a nation from Europe, and you war over ultimately to try and conquer Europe. And it's played through like the seasons and the years. It was a whole setup to get very, very thematic into it. So each of us, all the players, got to sign a nation, and we had to come roleplay the nation, which means also coming in a costume. Well, not necessarily a costume, but dress up the part. And really roleplay it, because what Diplomacy ultimately is as a board game is a talking board game. You got to go out and you really got to sell that like I'm a diplomat. I want to make deals with you. We're going to be like make trades and barter, and also like we're going to because war's not fought on just the soldier front.
Yeah,
and you can't fight three fronts at the same time. So you got to be like, hey.
I don't know if you're Germany. You think you could?
I mean, Austria-Hungary tried as well. They didn't work out well for them as well. But we all got to sign factions. I got to sign Russia. So it was a lot of fun to play. And my favorite part about the whole situation, about that Diplomacy board game, was it could not have ended up more historically accurate to what actually happened in real life. And I always wonder if that's just like due to the nature of how like the layout of like Europe works.
Yeah, true. Maybe it was always going to go that
It was
way.
always kind of going to go that way. So
Yeah.
because I mean, World War One happened. My mate Schultz was playing Austria-Hungary. Just immediately, Austria-Hungary just gets annihilated by every single faction known to mankind.
You're going to speak French whether you like it or not.
Italy tries to invade Greece, does not succeed, immediately gets crushed. Russia just stays there waiting for the winter.
You guys will dress up in our costumes for it as well, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
Are we going to get a photo of Kang as a Russian man that we can post up on Instagram?
Sure, man. I'm there with my like communist like canteen holding a bottle of vodka.
Guess what? We should do a. I want to play the zombie side. Like if we have a camera here, we play zombie side one
Yeah,
time.
we can play some board games.
I think that's the end goal, right? Is to get to where we can film some interesting stuff. I thought about doing one of the casts while we play Mario Kart while we're talking. I want to see how that would affect the conversation if it's different or less strong.
It'll be
I
like
don't know about bing bing wahoo when I'm trying to like talk about things.
Well, we don't have to have like the noise on the TV, right? It's not going to affect the game.
we're not going to concentrate on.
Oh well, last Sunday you did a thing with our Patreon members where you went to watch the new Aliens movie.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
first outing.
Yeah.
Wait, Danny, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Is my platinum tier up yet?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
is?
did it. Yeah, yeah.
All right, time to promote it.
Yeah.
But what are you going to promote for Platinum Tier?
I told you already. Like, whenever we're going out, it's like if you pay
William
the
will
platinum
make you
tier,
a sandwich.
I will pay that thing for
With
you.
real
Anyone
gold.
sign up yet? Anyone sign up yet?
No, I don't expect anybody to sign up for it.
If you sign up for the platinum tier, I'll bring you to a dinner, roast duck dinner.
Laced with gold.
No. We're gonna roast duck dinner in Northern Boss watching some classic movies. All expense paid.
I tried to
Sign up now.
do the video. So if we go to manage posts, the first video that I recorded is still trying to load. I don't know how to resolve this issue. I've been trying to Google
I don't
it
know.
and fix it, but
Patreon's not my thing.
I did the video like a week and a half ago, and I've been trying to figure it out. So
So no one can watch it.
I'm in the process. Yeah, it hasn't. It's still is trying to
Can
upload.
you try it? Maybe it's just his phone.
Danny's troubleshooting our first Patreon reward.
It's all right.
Well, that was my description of how we ended up with two Wraith King helmets.
very
So I'm gonna I think maybe I need to record it, edit it on the computer, and then upload it from the computer. Maybe not off my phone.
Yeah,
but it just makes
probably.
sense to add. Like, there's an option to upload it from my phone, and it makes sense because it's already on my phone. That
Maybe it's corrupted.
I guess
I
so.
don't know. I'll have a
Yeah.
look in a bit.
Yeah.
so.
But
I didn't want to bother our resident tech guy because he's got like bigger
Okay.
problems than me.
so platinum tier is up. I can start promoting it. First thing first, roast duck. Because now my tournament days are over. Roast duck dinner is on Sunday. If you're on, not this Sunday, but we can choose a Sunday where everybody's a little bit more free. And we can watch a movie, eating roast duck. How about that? Sign up now. Sign up now.
So last week you did the go check out a movie, the new Aliens. I'm thinking I don't get a lot of time to play board games, and I do enjoy board games.
How was it in Aliens though? Talking about aliens.
Wait, hold on. So maybe this Sunday, the coming up, we'll do like a board game thing where I invite a few of our members because I know a bunch of our listeners do play board games as well. I can bring out something from my trove of board games. We play something.
Your stack of untouched, dusty board games.
Yeah, I can finally undust one of them board games. We can
Just
play.
play on the zombie side.
Don't forget though, this Sunday is what?
Father's Day.
Father's Day. Guess what I'm doing for
If
Father's
you don't
Day?
have a father,
I already did
and
my
or
Father's
don't
Day.
care about your children, you can come for board game night.
Or you can pay the $150.
My child is playing football at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, and I have to be the boundary umpire. So I've got to run up and down the side of the field.
Oh, you're going to be fit.
But I'm not fit. I'm not going to magically get fit by.
You're the guy that throws the ball back in.
I don't have to throw it. I just have to. Honestly, I don't really do anything other than run up and down. It's
And they say offside. Are you the flag guy?
no,
Do you get to wear one of those
That's
checkered
soccer.
shirts?
no.
Oh, football.
They
Sorry.
should give you a checkered shirt.
I literally don't do anything other than run up and down the side.
Then what do
If
you
the-
do?
If the ref isn't sure who kicked it out, I've got to point at a kid. But like the ref will never refer to me because
He's
I'm a
the
fucking
ref.
random dad who doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, the ref should be
Yeah, the ref will know what he's doing.
paying attention. Yeah.
During the games, because like just parent or volunteers, and most of us are fucking shit. And it's like you're also asking a parent not to be biased, and like some of the parents are way too invested in the game, like way more than the
Boy,
kid
you
is.
ever watch the videos of when parents get involved in their kids'
Bro,
sport?
I've seen them, man. Some of the parents are psychotic.
Yeah.
Like because I'm 33 and my child's 13. There's not as big of a age gap there as you think there would be. So I'm still chill. I still live in a world where I'm not too far away from being fit, Daniel. So it's okay. Some of those parents are clearly living vicariously through their children, and they're like really into their kids playing AFL, and their kids don't give a fuck. You can the kid doesn't have. Some of the kids wanted to quit like 3 seasons ago, and the parents are like, "You will be an AFL star." It's like, no, he won't. Young Billy is fucking terrible. He ain't getting nothing. You got to just calm down, all right? It's crazy.
All in.
Some of the parents, watching under 14s AFL, some of the parents like getting close to like punch ups and they'll yell at the ref. They're like, "Oh, ref! The ref's 15 years old."
I love
calm down.
videos of that. That's like my
What's so serious though?
Because they got nothing. Look,
yeah.
their
accomplishment is through their children now because
Yeah.
they reached
They
the
should
end
just
of
play
the
some
point
card
of their own
games.
accomplishments.
Introduce magic to them.
Yes, they need another outlet, and I genuinely
A
believe
Warhammer.
this. This is why everybody has a competitive streak in them somewhere along the line. And as bad as like video games and as like money pits as some of these hobbies can be, everybody needs an outlet. So if you're not going to do sport, something competitive like Magic where you can get that juices out, I think is super necessary. There's too many like middle-aged, like 30
They need a hobby.
to 50-year-old people that don't have any hobbies. They have zero hobbies. And they just have nothing else to live for other than living through their children. And I'm sure you'll meet it because you've got daughters, like as your daughters get older, you'll meet some of the parents' friends and they're like, their best friend is their child. No, let your friend, your kids,
I don't talk to other people. I don't even talk to the only time they talk to me is like, oh, I got a birthday invite.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't talk.
I meet plenty of people where the mum, the daughter's their best friend, and it's like, no, you're supposed to be their parent, not their best friend. Because then
That's me and my mom.
When you need to be like an authority as a parent to your child, if the child sees you as their friend, you're never going to have the sway that is needed. You're not going to have the authority figure. So like you have to have a set. Like I love my child. I mean, like Lucas hang out. We watch like the soccer together and the Premier League, and we do things. We get dinner. But when I'm like, stop fucking being a shit. He knows that I'm being a parent, and that role is in question. But
He needs like friends.
yeah, it just needs to be very clear roles. Like clear roles is
Correct,
important.
correct.
Whereas you get some people that are like way too friendly with their kids.
Today,
Rant.
my daughter gave me like a card. My eldest daughter gave me a card, like a Father's Day card.
Oh.
And on the card,
I like how prompt she is. She's days ahead.
so no, she made it in
Boy,
school.
I just checked the date to make sure I didn't miss out on Father's Day.
So what happened is in this card, like, what does your father like to do? I was like, my dad likes to play One Piece. I'm like, and then
He knows you
number
well.
2, my dad likes to play with card games. I'm like, And then she drew a picture of like me and a One Piece shirt. And like, I'm like,
little
what? What
She
the
could have
heck?
used that as an opportunity to like to sponsor, to put your sponsorship up there.
I thought she was gonna put like Eternal Magic.
Oh, fantastic.
When
Yeah.
I was in primary school, my mum worked in my primary school as a teacher's assistant. And when it was Father's Day, I was like probably like fucking year 2 or 3, right? And I did fail year 2, I had to do it twice. So to keep that in mind, all right? I did have to do year 2 twice. I wasn't the smartest kid to start with. My dad smoked cigarettes when we were young. And in one of my Father's Day things, it's like, what does your father do as a hobby? And I said, my dad does drugs. And
That's funny. That's hell.
because I'd
funny.
mentioned drugs, they had to approach my mum to like check on to
Yeah.
make sure that everything's okay at home and stuff like that. But it was like double awkward because my mum also worked at the school. So they just thought, and we're pretty white trash people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, whatever, it is what it is. But it's like they had to, and I went to like, Quinn's Primary, which is like pretty country-ish at that point as well. So they had to really like go home and be like, is your father figure doing like drugs and shit? So sorry, Dad. Sorry. As we reach on to Father's Day, I apologize.
I have a story where it was pretty young. I think this is like when you were back when you were like, teaching how to draw and do all the development stuff. And we had one where it was like, draw your parents, in a happy family. And as a kid, that was like not very good at listening to directions and I just didn't care about what my teachers ever told me. At that point, I was really good at drawing Garfield. So everyone submitted pictures of their parents and I drew Garfield.
Like, that's so funny as well because like you're like fucking mid-20s, like you have no business knowing what Garfield even is.
My goodness.
I have a lot of moments of like I'm supposed to be drawing things and I just drew a completely different wild thing because like as a kid with a hyper imagination and like a semi penchant to actually being like decent at drawing things. So it was like there's a few times where I submitted work that it was like just Goku from Dragon Ball.
Whatever. Gang, this is maths.
because I knew how to treat anime or whatever.
When you were in school, did you get your teachers to call you Kang or your other name?
Oh, Kang.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's always an option right from the beginning?
Yeah.
Did your parents start it then?
That's what my parents call me anyway. That is my name. My full name is like a secret. It's a super
I know.
Secret.
He's like Liu Kang without a U.
But oh, God, cut that out. I had like frog in my throat.
I don't know what it is. I can talk normally to people all day long. I get no problems. The minute I sit down in this chair to talk to you guys, I get like throaty constantly. I don't know what the fuck the
You're
problem
still aware
is.
of it, right?
Yeah.
You're aware of it,
17 Pepsi Maxes, too many.
Where was that?
Maybe not too many Pepsi Max.
You were telling us about why you've got a secret name. FBI agent.
Before that.
Are you going to go back to the gout? Or the-
Oh,
Wait.
okay.
I want to ask this question about what do you want to do after you graduate?
That's an off-air topic. We'll talk about that later.
Why? He's like a secret, William.
But anyway, so
He's going to be a professional Magic player.
So I have this thing where, like, when I was young, like, I wouldn't call myself necessarily smart, but I was quick. I was like really good at finishing like all my tests, like
Hold on a
pretty
second.
fast.
I told a story about how I drank piss. Don't tell me that you
No,
talking about
this
what you do
leads
after
on to
school is
something
going to be
else.
after.
This leads on to
It's too
something
much
else.
for the podcast.
So I used to, like, when I would finish writing up all my like things, right, and you can't submit it yet, you're kind of waiting for everyone else to finish. I would just draw on the papers, and I have a bad habit of just drawing all over my paper, just doodles everywhere. And then
He finishes and then covers it in drawings.
yeah, I was just covered in drawings of things, and some of my teachers would appreciate it, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is nice," and the other ones would always be like, "Oh, hey, stop." But I think
You can
back
just
about
submit
it.
the double test. Like you can put your art project into your maths project.
I just think
and
back
submit
to
both
it,
at the
and
same
like, is
time.
that teacher just miserable?
Oh, yeah, they're miserable.
Yeah, it's like, what is a kid drawing on a piece of paper? Like, it's not hindering the work. Like, everyone else finished. Why does that make you upset?
Yeah, Lucas is at high school, right? And my son is a shit. He's like way too ADHD to be in school. He shouldn't be there. Like he shouldn't be in a class of 36 other kids. Too much, right? But like, most of the time when he gets in trouble, I'm like, it's Lucas being a bit of a shit. He's been having troubles like at school with some certain teachers, and one of them, very one in particular. And I'm like, he's complaining. He's like, oh, she's bullying me. She's out to get me, and she just complains about everything I do or whatever. And
Yeah, some teachers just bully, right?
yeah, but I was like, no, Lucas, she doesn't wake up in the morning and think like, oh, fuck Lucas, I'm going to mess with him. I'm like, she's got bigger agendas. She's got like hundreds of kids she's dealing with a day. She's not just picking on you. Anyway, we go have this meeting and I'm talking to her. And by the end of the meeting, I was like, fuck this bitch. I was like, she was just miserable. And I was like, you've got no business being around children. Like, you're just a miserable person. What's your
Yeah, I
problem?
think some people are just innately like will be out to get other people, and if they're given a position of power, which you are as a teacher against children, you can abuse that power. Right?
Yeah.
So you can just take advantage of like you could definitely go out and bully
Yeah,
kids.
true.
I was in year 7, and we had one of the teachers like cause one of the girls to just leave crying because just like the constant berating of her.
Yeah.
Just like, and like as a kid, you're like, oh man, that's just a real strict teacher, and as an adult, you're like, what the fuck?
One of the teachers told Lucas he's got a shit haircut. And he does have a shit haircut. Like, I want you to be very, very clear. My child has a horrific haircut.
No, he just has the same haircut that everyone else has.
Yeah, but he's got that Edgar thing with the horsey, and a horsey's like a big shit rat tail.
He plays AFL. Come on, are you surprised he has a horse tail?
Honestly, horrific,
Mate.
But the teacher shouldn't be telling me he's got a shit
Yeah.
haircut. The teacher can go back to the teacher's lounge and they can laugh about how shit their haircuts are. You can't say it to a kid's face. He's 13 years old. I told him. It's my job to tell him he's got a shit haircut.
Also, to be fair, the standards of teachers, like what the teachers can do to not do to kids anymore, has also gotten more strict. I remember, like when I was in high school, the teachers get away with everything, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the teachers could publicly humiliate you. We had this thing where it was like the same year 7 teacher that made that girl leave the class crying. He had this whole thing of like he used to play music, and then one time a couple of us in the back were just hanging out and singing this song. It was that Flow Rider song. It's the one with the apple bottom jeans.
right.
And me and a
Apple
couple,
bottom
yeah, me and a
jeans,
couple boys in the
boots
back
with
were
the
hanging
fur.
out singing it, and he was upset. Like he had a a grudge.
Was it because you were
against us.
singing during his class?
No, everyone. It was like we were doing the work, so everyone was just having like real candid whatevers anyway. And then he made all me and the boys get up in the front of the class and sing in front of everyone.
Did you?
Yeah,
Public
Oh.
humiliation.
he was like, either you sing it or you can't go back to your desk.
I went to Baghdadi
And
Senior
I was
High
like,
School.
bro, if I don't go back to desk, I don't have to study. Cool.
I went to Baghdadi Senior High School for going to Mindari, and it was like a classic science teacher, this really tall guy, and we didn't realize till like further into the year, he would pair everyone up with the people that they're supposed to be paired with. But what he would do is with the kids he thought was stupid, he would pair them up in the corner, the corner off to themselves, and then he would just ignore them the entire class.
Whoa.
So it was just like, and it wasn't until like after a while, he'd be like, oh, he just expected us to not know. So like I say us, wasn't me. It was certain kids he just expected them not to get it, so he just didn't give a fuck. He didn't try. And like when the kids would ask questions, he would just like basically flat out ignore them.
I had a few run-ins when I was young where when you're a kid you don't notice it, but like I definitely had teachers that were like overtly racist. But they were like when you have certain teachers that were.
But you went into a fairly multicultural school, right?
Yeah, but that's just means it's more compounded. You notice it more, right? So you have like some teachers which would like call like me like oh, you and your race, or like one of you people. And I'm like, thinking back, it always like, interesting. So
You're like, I'm Chinese. There's fuckloads of me. You should be more respectful.
so, but you'll notice it. You'll notice it subtly. I
Yeah.
know.
So what happens after you graduate?
William's driving back that point. What happens when I
He's
graduate?
fixated on it now.
Like any other graduate, mate, start looking for jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Do you have like a
final year, you got to start making connections. You got to start putting yourself in the position.
Kang's
where
going to
you're
be like a
gain some
master
experience.
hacker. He's going to go like crush terrorists and shit.
Yeah, well, that's like so my path. The pathway that I'm going through right now, I effectively have either I become like there's like three major paths, right? After you finish cybersecurity, you either work in some sort of like defensive position where like you're an analyst, or like you just watch networks, or you do a lot of like the defensive stuff, like looking at like network traffic and making sure that's all safe. You either work inside a business or you're contracted out. The more exciting counter to that is you're like a pen tester, or like you're like a white hat hacker. You're like a hacker that hacks things ethically for security reasons. That's the more exciting one, but also
Can you
requires-
ethically hack like 100 grand into my bank account?
that wouldn't be ethical? Question mark?
Questionable.
That's called a black hat hacker, which is the cool hackers you see in movies, which do all the illegal things.
Where they type really quick. Like,
Yeah, I would love to be that if I was good enough. Any good hacker, like if you're a good guy hacker, secretly they wish they were a bad guy.
so should I go register the Northern Board security personnel like domain so we can get prepared?
Maybe. And then
We sell board games and hack your
well,
shit.
I have been just like hacking into our website here and there for funsies.
Yeah, he told us he's been hacking into the Northern Board's website.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Just doing like reconnaissance stuff, like pinging it here and there and probing it and seeing like the connected devices and all that.
I'm going to get an email from Squarespace being like, so I don't know. We don't know why your shitty little website
Squarespace is
being
actually
attacked.
pretty good. Squarespace is pretty good because it's all through Squarespace, so they actually did a pretty good job of it. So I can't actually get too far in. It's all very amateur-y stuff. And then the final pathway is like a consultant. Like you go out and you write reports, you talk to people, you figure out solutions on site and stuff.
Interesting.
It's a fairly diverse thing, and even though that I'm studying computer science with a major in cybersecurity,
So you're graduating in 2025?
yeah, the theory is next year. So I gotta
Interesting.
start figuring out things. I don't know, dude. You're asking me things in a year's time. I don't have plans for my like what I'm having breakfast tomorrow morning.
When you become a super special security like guard tack man, are you going to be allowed to do the podcast, or is that going to be too kosher?
Yeah, this will be a hobby, right?
Maybe we'll have to get Kang, but you have to put a voiceover thing like,
No, we have to like invite him. And,
not
like, get
Kang
it.
anymore.
Boy, you seen there's a video of like some like it was like a Mexican like thing where she was like dubbing in like cartel activity, and then they blur her face and like covered her voice. But then there's in the recording.
Surely they can get around that.
No,
right?
but they fucked up though because they aired it and then you could see her face through the reflection of a mirror.
Fuck off. That's just shoddy work.
Yeah, so she's gone probably if it's the cartel.
Fuck it hell.
Yeah.
GG.
Another good videos to see on YouTube as well, talking about the when parents get too involved in their kids' sport. I watch a lot of videos of like you get like the parents running out and trying to fight other parents or fighting the refs.
I'm pretty interested. Like, what do you do with your free time, though?
Mostly I just watch videos and then go to sleep. So
Fair.
it was like sports wrestling, right? Like college wrestling.
I know you want to talk about it.
Yeah, like they
Quite recently, right?
just quite recently, like they finish up this sport. It looks like the actual kids doing the wrestling and okay with it. Just roid rage. Dad walks up, tries to pick a fight with the ref.
Yeah.
What a way to get you. It's like,
Or the one where he fights the ref, or one where he actually punches the kid that's wrestling.
oh, I've seen both. I think I've seen both.
Yeah.
And it's like just immediately how to get your kid like banned out of the sport, right?
Yeah, because there was one quite recently.
Yeah, you get DQ, right?
I imagine it's
Well,
got to
he-
be embarrassing for the kid.
Yeah, definitely. A kid hate you, though.
Yeah. Well, one of the ones quite recently, the father ran onto the wrestling mat and actually punched the other kid, not
Yeah,
his
no,
kid.
that's immediately the other parents are pressing charges.
Yeah, he faced because it was all on video as well, so he faced criminal charges straight away.
So stupid.
Yeah,
What are you
fuck
doing
it,
that
bro.
for?
Also, just punching another kid. You're an adult, like an adult man.
Yeah, control yourself.
I'm not too fast like my kids on sports. Like I told them, if you like to do it, you can do it. But if you don't like it, you don't. Do
You
it.
got like intellectual children, William. They're gonna go do all the intellectual stuff, like play piano and stuff.
I don't know.
Your kids doing instruments?
Yeah, piano.
Wild guess. Look at that.
I wish my parents had done some
I mean,
musical stuff.
I let them choose. Like I didn't force them.
Oh, you let them choose, did you?
Yeah.
I
I didn't choose it for them. Like I told them, like you want to learn piano, you learn. If you don't, you don't. want.
My cousin wasn't given a choice. He used to I think it's for my father's side. I say cousin, but it's my cousin.
It
gets blurry.
In English, it's just cousin or niece. Like
Because I don't have brothers or sisters.
It's
so
like in like Chinese, there's like different. You can't. There's like the male side and then the female side.
yeah. There's like it's one of those languages.
Does
which
it
has
matter?
masculine
Yeah, it
and
matters.
One's more prevalent than the other? Or
No,
something?
yeah, of course. Like there's like a common name and different name.
Yeah,
Because if it's your father's side, you have same surname. If you're
So they're more likely to be
the way
more
you call your
family.
grandparents.
yeah,
is
you call
different.
the way you call it is different.
For
yeah.
example, there's different words for like grandparents on your father's side or mother's side. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's beside the point. He wasn't given a choice. He was like, "You choose an instrument." He chose violin, and they made him used to like practice violin for hours and hours every day.
And then the typical
Non-stop.
Asians like, I want to be a musician. No, you don't become a musician.
So I remember they used to send like videos and of like their son performing and like doing practice and stuff, and you'll see it in his face where he's like not keen,
Not keen to be there.
but he has to.
Yeah.
So
It's one way to crush your child's soul into nothingness.
it's called being in China, mate. It's called
guess
called there's you
I
and a
I'm gonna,
billion
like-
other kids. So you
I'm
gotta
gonna
be better
like
than
tell
them.
you why that is. Like parents who force things onto the child is just to make sure that they are like pretty much how do I put it? Given the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you don't like it, it's fine. You can in the future you can not do it, but you already done it. But if in a case that you need it, you already done it.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
like
yeah.
pretty much prepare you for
I just
it.
think that if you realize your child resents it, that's when you pull the trigger off. Because naturally, if they resent
That's
it,
the
when
thing,
they do
right?
get freedom,
So-
it's not like they're going to continue.
So the thing is, like, no, it's not that. Like, can you imagine, like, okay, so the argument is, your child like, oh, I like playing computer games,
Yeah.
and like, I'm gonna spend my time playing computer games. Like, it's like, when are you gonna get out from it? If you learn, like, let's say a musical instrument, you get something out from it, regardless of whether you like it or not. So in the future, like you can strike conversation with someone. Let's say you're in sales or whatever. Like,
course.
I know this instrument. Like I've learned it before. You know, things like that.
I
Even
think
though you don't like
music
it,
is a good skill and talent. to
yeah,
have.
you have that knowledge behind you. Instead, like, I Call of Duty, bro.
Yeah.
I am very envious of people that have kept that like musical spark into like adulthood. Because I used to play guitar when I was quite young, and then I never like continued keeping that skill set. And now if I picked up a guitar, I would be hopeless.
Yeah.
You learn it from YouTube.
Yeah, with time you can
It's a
definitely
music store,
self-teach a
just
lot.
opposite Northern Boards.
I think there's something as well with music and lessons and stuff like that as well, and it happens with sport too, where like certain levels of like commitment and what's the word when you continue to do something?
Practice.
Consistent.
Consistency, yeah. It's like that commitment and consistency is a big thing that you have to learn, and it doesn't matter if you learn it through music or art or sport or whatever it is. If you don't have any of that, and then you go into the point of studying, like studying requires a lot of consistency and commitment. And if you don't, the earrings too thick there. Will we got to take them out?
It's pain.
What do you call it? If you don't have those, when you're going to try and do it during school, it's going to be really hard work. So maybe being able to learn those early in something that you might like will make those times hard.
Especially
life harder.
with instruments, I relate it a lot to like learning a new language as well. Where
Yeah,
you
true.
can just like there's a big difference between knowing how to play like a song or two, and there's a bit like it's whether you can play a song or two or you actually know how to play the instrument. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
'Cause
What's
knowing,
copying something and what's understanding
correct?
it.
Knowing actually how to play like music is a completely different skill set of like learning what music is and knowing how to read notes and knowing like what the instrument does. And it's the same thing as like learning a language where it's like you can speak a few phrases, you
Yeah.
can speak a certain few things. Doesn't mean you know how to speak the language.
A lot of things
Yeah.
that I don't agree when I was younger, when my parents like told me to do this, do that, do this. But now I
Now
can
you're a
see the
parent, you
benefit.
see it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, no, not as a parent, like as an adult. Like I see like my parents like forced me to play tennis. Like I didn't like tennis, but now I'm like, oh, luckily I learned tennis. I can play tennis now. Like if someone asks me to.
Yeah, it's good to like.
Like-
I think it's good to encourage positive skill sets in your children.
Yeah, but I didn't like it then, right? So it's like like what you said, like the facial expression.
Did your parents force you to continue?
Yeah, I have to play like every week. I just have to learn.
Did your parents at least let you choose what you want?
No, not really.
Interesting.
Interesting. You're just like tennis.
My parents were like pretty chill and pretty relaxed, and I think like they weren't too stressed about whatever I did, and that's nice because the pressure's not there.
Yeah.
But I do like, and this is not a dig at them either, but it's more about like maybe if they'd be more scholastically minded or like drove the education stuff like that, I might have kickstarted like my education or my business or something a bit earlier on. Like
But
they
you
were
have
very
like
relaxed.
ADHD. Do you think you would have pursued it through the ADHD?
You have to, with ADHD, it's more about finding something that you're passionate and you want to learn.
Gotcha.
You can really achieve in an incredible way anything you want to do, but if you don't want to do it, it's super hard to get it across that line.
I get that.
Like
I get
there's,
that a lot.
I've talked about it before on this podcast, but it's like I fill myself up with so much work on a daily basis that I can procrastinate by doing work, and then I can still lie to myself at the end of the day and pretend like I'm working as much as I should be, right? But really, I'm still being able to avoid some of the things I don't want to do because I'm still committing to that. It's like I'm relaxing or taking too much time off. It's and you find that. So I think the big thing is like it's really like with whether it's business or ADHD, big thing is like just do it now. Just do the thing now. Don't put it off. If you know you've got to do this thing, just do it right now, and you just knock it out of the park. But forcing yourself to do that is like a
Getting
massive
through
hurdle.
that first step is the hardest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So only one more thing I need to add. So other than all this like things that you learn and stuff, one more thing that I had in my life that really changed like my course of my life is a mentor.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
a mentor like came into when I was learning music. I had this music teacher was also my mentor who taught me a lot about business, who taught me about sales, who taught me about everything else, like taught me about margins and everything. Every single thing I wanted to know, he taught me like everything, not just music. So music was in the class, and then outside of the class, he taught me a lot about like life, pretty much.
I think that's really important early on.
Yeah.
Is like
having a mentor, like it really like slingshot you.
Correct.
Like pretty quickly. Like instead of you having to learn a lot of things like all the mistakes and stuff, like this one pretty much just push you like 3 steps ahead.
What feels really important as well is surrounding yourself with good people that will also kind of push you in the right direction, especially especially when you're younger and you're more impressionable. You can tell a lot about a child. Yeah, exactly. You can tell a lot about a child with the company he keeps. So,
And I think that the mental thing is a great idea. It's like a good, excellent point. Same thing is like so much in like, especially in the business side of what I have to do is like when I need something, when I need to learn about taxes or to do this or do that, I have to go learn myself. And I'm not a tax expert, so I'm already coming in at a default there as well. And you're right, it's like having someone that could like step you through. And I think that's how generational wealth and education happens, is because like if I make money and can buy half a house, that means when my son goes to buy a house, he has like all the knowledge that I have that I can pass on to him. And then when his son goes to buy a house, now he's got 2 people's worth of information that he can compact in together. And I think that's a big thing, is where it falls off the line. It's like, I think a lot, especially in like modern society now, is like the instinct is to like go out and do your own thing and be your own person. Whereas historically people live through their families much more congruently. And I think we're losing some of that generational like knowledge where we're just not passing things on as well as we could do. And every generation almost has to like start again. And it's like, that's not a lead to success. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think I've struggled a lot because I don't have a lot of communication with my parents, necessarily speaking. So they don't pass down a lot of like knowledge to me. I can only pick up here and there little things, or like
your dad's a chef. Is he like teaching you how to cook and stuff like that?
No, I had to self-teach myself as well, that because he wasn't present at the home as much because he's off working, so I have to teach myself how to cook. For example. So, but like what really comes through instead for them is like more like the way they raised me, like certain like principles and values shine through more than just like financial decisions or how to be smart with certain things. So everything else is like
financial decisions.
That's a big one. That's actually a significant one. I feel like parents really need to start teaching their children at a young age how to actually save money.
I think financial literacy is one of the like
I think it's a losing skill. I think
it's not a
financial
losing skill.
literacy
Like
is
it wasn't taught. It wasn't like no one talks about it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be in school. I feel like it should be like a
for sure.
compulsory subject.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know when in school they had like that business class, like elective. I don't know if you guys had it, but at my school we had like an elective,
No, not
which
at
was
all.
like a business management class.
Oh,
you
that's
take.
good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I took it, and it was like all bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
They didn't teach me nothing, bro.
What do you mean?
Did you
nothing?
not learn anything, or did they not try to teach you
I
something?
learned like nothing. It was like all like the most significant part of that course. Well, they try to teach things like business management. It was like they try to teach things like how what a business is and like what it means. And then the most like competent part of that unit was we had to go out and interview a local small business, and that was the only one I took away from it. Everything else was complete bullshit. I think what that class really should have been was that class should have been like teaching you how money actually works in the real world, how
Yep.
investment actually works. Like what stocks actually mean, like what it actually means. Well, like you save money in the bank. What it actually means when you do certain things, like how tax actually affects you. And I think that's what that class should have been, instead of like go out and interview a small business.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe
Yeah.
more foundational stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was very lucky.
Especially
To
when
I
I was
always,
in, like,
I always
year
thought
10.
like the conspiracy theory of people why they don't want to teach financial literacy in school is because they don't want you
yeah,
to be
it's
smart
actively
with money.
against
Yeah,
their
yeah.
intention,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. That's my conspiracy theory.
For an economy to work, you do need like the majority of the people to like spend willingly, essentially, right? That's
I actually think the average person is willing to spend willingly.
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So-
even though with financial literacy, you will spend money, but you don't make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
That's what you don't want. Like,
I think with my thing with business has always been, I want to make, not consume. You want to produce, not consume. The more you can produce, it means the more someone's going to buy from you. And it's very much the same thing as like this. The whole concept of this podcast is like, I want to hang out with my friends and talk shit for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
How can I put that in a position where I can make it feel like work? It doesn't always have to make it like a gangbuster amount of money, but at least if I'm producing some sort of content and in that direction, I don't feel as bad about sitting. If I sat at home tonight and then listened to watch an hour and a half of like Simpsons, which I might do, you know what I mean? It's like, what's a better use of my time? Hanging out with my friends and using that time well and producing something that some people might like, even if it's just the 15 subscribers that we've got. I'd much rather do that than, sit like lie in bed.
thank you, subscribers.
100%, yes.
excuse me, guys.
Also,
It's like 37 on YouTube actually.
this episode is brought to you by Imperial.
Numismatics.
Yeah, let's go. I can't say that word, so I just can't say the first word.
Just give it a crack for us.
Numismatic?
That's good.
That's good.
All right.
Works.
It's good. I think that would get the Johnny Coins tick of approval.
Yeah, you're fine. There.
Thank
You
you,
passed.
Johnny. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and I think I don't know. I forgot what I was talking about.
Another thing, it was, I think it's a tricky one because I don't know if like children are exactly ready to like learn things like this, but
No, I don't
maybe,
think
like,
not
year 11, year
children,
12.
like teenagers.
Yeah, year 11, year 12, you should be taught
yes.
like how your local economy works. Like you should learn like, what mining actually does in WA to actually support your economy and what that means, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
How the market actually works. around
Hate
certain
the
things.
Easterns.
I've been pretty lucky with like work stuff, right? Like I didn't do year 10 at school. I worked for a year fully at Woolworths for year 10 instead of doing that. And then I went to high school in year 11. And then because I was there for quite a bit, I got like a 2IC role. So I was a bit of a manager there and I got to like direct other staff and I was in charge of night field and then I was in charge of some stocking and stuff like that. And I learned a lot of stuff there. And then when I left school, I went straight into school, work at a bank. I worked at a bank for about a year and a bit. And I knew almost nothing about anything financially. Nothing in school, not really anything from my parents. Is like if I working at that bank really gave me a massive opportunity to learn a lot about banking and money and investment and talking to the people that would come in because it was like, we're talking about 2009, 2010. People who would come deposit, their business owners would come deposit their money and I could see their bank accounts. I could see the ones that are doing well. So like at that, especially that time, one of the big one was guys who own taxi number plates and they were making incredible amounts of money. This is obviously pre-Uber. And I could talk to them and see like what they did successful and how they spent their money and what they didn't do. I think like a lot of fiscal stuff is like, what not to do.
Yeah,
There's so much. There's only a certain amount of really good decisions you can make, but there's heaps of really bad decisions. And if you can cut away some of those bad decisions, things like credit cards and like say like if you've got the opportunity to pay off the HEX debt, there's not much incentive for you not to do that. You know what I mean? And this is not to put pressure on you to actually do that, but I'm saying is like you little things will fly past and you'll be like, oh, it's only a little bit of interest, but you maybe 2 years passed and you didn't realize you paid that interest like 4 times now. You know what I mean? And the same things like I knew very little about like mortgages and housing. So like the first when I bought my house at like 19 years old, we made some terrible decisions, financial decisions with like the loan and like even the building of the house. Well, now that I'm a bit older and I wish I'd had that education then that I do incredibly different. Was I very lucky to build a house at 19? Yes, I worked very hard for it. And I wish I still owned that house now. It'd make a massive difference to it. But it's like, you know, and that's the little like mistakes you learn along the way. And it's like, if that education happened better at a school level, incredibly different.
Well, that's the thing
situation.
where William goes back to talking about like having a mentor. The idea is that you have a mentor who like will then guide you so you don't necessarily make the mistakes, but you learn from like the mentor will have already had that experience to pass down to you. So, and I would love to see something like similar in the classes, but I don't really foresee it happening necessarily.
Mentoring is not just like a teacher though. It could be a friend.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The company
It could be like me to you, like telling you like, hey,
pay my hex deck off.
not that, like other things. It could be like, hey, stop going to the casino or stop buying stupid shit.
Well, that's why I really value like your relationship with like yours and mine, William, where we have like small businesses that we can operate together and we can talk things out. And I've got like a lot of like really interesting and cool ideas from just conversations you've had. And then like you and I both bring very different things to the table. I'm not sure how much I've helped you if at all, but like you've definitely been a value asset to me. And the same thing with Nem. It's like Nem brings very, very different things to the table and maybe not necessarily like a business side of it, but he coming from a very passionate side of what is generally a very passionate kind of industry, like incredible insights that as someone who's more business minded and maybe I'm like pretty vanilla, like I'm a little bit of art, I have my art scholarship and stuff like that, but it's like I come from a much more like work hard, do the thing, get it done, try and make a bang. And it's like, whereas
But
Nem
you and like 99% of the population.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. And it's like, whereas Nem comes from a very passionate side and the quality of the product is incredibly high. And that's where we work together really well. Is like, I'll look at numbers and be like, why are we spending $6 on lettuce? And he'll be like, well, this lettuce is significantly better and it's grown from here. And then we've got to find somewhere in between where we have to make it financially viable, but also not cut away any of the...
What?
Hold on. This is the hardcore tangent that my brain just immediately thought of. What you described there is exactly a scene that happens in The Bear. The one with the cooking show.
Yeah, I've actually watched
the
most
food
of
show.
that. Yeah.
The cooking show.
I watched The Bear pretending that it was research for the restaurant.
Nice. You convince yourself that so you watch it, right?
Yeah.
What you
Do you
described.
know what we're talking about?
I think I know.
The exact
I think I
thing
know.
happened where like on the show, the head chef like buys expensive truffle from this one place.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy's like, why did we spend 20 grand on truffle? And
Yeah, the
he
finance guys, the guy who's financing their money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He describes it and the finance guy's like, what?
Yeah.
But what you described is exactly what happens in
Yeah,
restaurants,
100%.
right? You have that conflict of creative versus financial.
And I think from a business side, like Nem's entire goal is what is the best, like 100% the highest quality product he can produce. And it's, I have to come in and be like, well, that's good, but like, how is it to stay financially viable for the future?
And then you draw the middle line.
And it's not about me coming in being like, well, no, you've got to buy shit bread because we can't afford to buy good bread. It's like, well, if we need to make this, if you want to use this bread, how much do we need to charge to make that viable? And is that too much to expect a customer to pay for that X amount of product? And then if that's the case, how can we make money another way? So a lot of the time what comes from us for like Burger Boy, for example, because for a tiny little burger shop with only say like 300 customers a week, right? We use incredibly high quality product. Like we use the most expensive pickles in the state. Like, and that's why like when you eat, like I don't like pickles, but I'll eat the pickles that Nem eats out of the jar. I thought maybe somewhere along the line, like, oh, maybe my palate has changed and now I like pickles. I fucking know. I tried some pickles at like other places. Terrible.
Yeah.
It's like just the way that Nem prepares it. Like he mandolins it into like much smaller like sizes, and the quality of the pickle is incredibly high. So the time he's taking to prep it and the quality of the product is much higher. It's like we use these incredibly high ones. So Nem doesn't want to budge on the pickles, and I don't want to push onto Nem that he has to create a shittier product. So then I have to be like, where can I make $35 worth of pickles a day somewhere else in the business? And that's the benefit of like, I have the truck and the Northern Boards and the Burger Boy. So sometimes that $35 worth of pickles doesn't have to come from Burger Boy now, I can make up for the truck for the meantime. And then a strategy can be put in place where Burger Boy can like make that $35 worth of pickles a day somewhere else, like through snacks or better advertising, getting more people in. And it's like, if you had a sole business just by itself, it was just Burger Boy. If I, at the end of the week, it doesn't matter which it is. If I've got spending $35 too much on pickles and now I can't pay like to have the bread delivered or the oil delivered, that's critically a problem, right? But I've got these like buffer zones where sometimes the buffer zones aren't great because it means I've always got a way out and I can rest on those laurels. But at the same time, it's better than like, you know, we have to now not buy the pickles because I don't have that money. And I'm saying the word pickles a lot, that now my brain's like confusing.
There's a word for that. Yeah. I saw a thing where I've always thought I went crazy, where if you say a word enough times, it starts sounding weird. It sounds
weird. Yeah.
That's a scientific term for that.
Oh, really?
I
It's a
agree with
legitimate
like
study thing.
Nam's burgers. My kids, like they can taste different. Like when I go to Nam's and then when I buy them, like I don't want to go to Nam's because it's too far away from my house. They're like, this burger is trash.
And the thing is, like, I'm a big hospitality guy, massive. So not necessarily food, but like I've worked in a lot of events, nightclubs, festivals, music festivals, or like all this stuff. And it's like, and creating a good environment and a quality product in regards to like an experience is something that I'm really, really big on. And that's why I'm really proud with Northern Boards when people say like they like to, their preferences to come here because of the atmosphere and the vibe.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to me. And the same thing is like, because it's not just a hobby store. We're not just a shop that's trying to sell your product. It's an environment for you to come down and hang out. And the same thing is at NEMS. It's like with Burger Boy, it's like, it's not just the food, it's the quality, it's the communication we have, it's the care that we take. And like I was mentioning to William tonight, because the POS system can tell when we're having a new customer or an old customer based on the card they're using to buy. And the fact that Burger Boy has a roughly 65% of the same customers every single week is an incredible testament, because it means that, you know, of all the customers we've got, 60%, more than half, have been here at least once before. And like on Uber Eats, for example, when somebody orders, it counts up like how many times they've ordered before, and it has like a little tagline that tells you that. Some people have bought like 55, 56 times before on Uber. That's
super regular.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah,
you know, there's 52 weeks in a year. Like for almost a year, these people have been things. And
They're just like, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's Burger Boy time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like, there's
Burger Boy Tuesday.
There's a couple that comes on Sunday, for example, and they come. There's actually two. There's a father and a son. They come every Sunday and they buy two double Phillies. That's for anybody who's had the Phillies cheesesteak at Burger Boy. It's a massive burger. So to double it and then consume it, I hope they don't die of heart attacks, because I love them, both of them. But it's like, it's awesome. This father and son will come down and do this thing together, and it's experience they're having. And where there's this tiny little nugget part of that where this is the thing they've chosen to do.
It's a great sign, because humans are like ritualistic by nature. We have our rituals, we like patterns. But for them to put Burger Boy into their like ritual on a Sunday, like that's what they like to do, it means a lot for the business. It means a lot for like the quality of food.
100%. And I think that's the beauty of hospitality, is like, I think like, you know, you can be an amazing office works manager, owner, but at the end of the day, nobody's loving that experience. It just is what it is, right? But with hospitality, somebody can walk away and they can have a great experience, and they might be sitting around the dinner table a week from now having their homemade burgers and be like, fuck, those burgers down the other day were like amazing. And the guy that we talked to, and I think if you look at the 5-star reviews of anybody who's replied to who's put rough 5-star reviews on Burger Boy, it's such an indication of that. It's like the quality is high and the communication for the staff is great. And Nem and I are very, very proud of our 4.9 rating on Google, because like to get a 4.9 is incredibly hard, because they're just on average you get some like goofy replies.
You can have one review and it tanks it, right?
Tanks it, yeah. So. And we've had some like interesting like we've got 3 non 5-star reviews on Burger Boy, and one of them was a complaint that we were closed, but we weren't supposed to be open. It was just outside of our open times, and it was 1-star review, and the lady was mad she came down and won't open. I was like, and it's like, what do you say to that? You know what I mean? Like we clearly we weren't open.
You can't avoid those kind of reviews.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah. It's like the lady was mad. I was like, I get you're mad, but like that's a huge detriment to us that you're leaving that review. But we were never open. Like, why? I don't know what your problem. What do you want me to do? You know. And then another one was somebody had ordered the Philly cheeseburger, and the Philly cheeseburger is actually the most reviewed burger on our reviews by a lot. Like it's very, very popular. Nem has like artistically created this nightmare of a burger to produce. Like he hates making it, but it's one of our most popular burgers because of the prep time that goes into it. Because if you order a burger at Macca's, it's like a whole production line and like most of it's pre-prepped and then it's heated and given to you.
Right.
Whenever Nem gets a Philly, but it's all of our burgers actually. But like for example, for Philly cheeseburger has like
made on the spot.
It's made on the spot, everything, and that's why we really try and push that we're not a fast food because if it takes 30 minutes, it's because it took 30 minutes to make your food. Like we're doing restaurant stuff.
Go on the griddle.
100%. Yeah.
Go on.
And it's like we're doing like restaurant like stuff, but what some people deem as a fast food thing, and it's like it's not that case. So like he has to get all of the different things like the chilies and the peppers and the sauce and the oil and the thing, and that goes on the grill. Then he chops it up and then he adds the cheese to it. And then he chops that up, and it's like this whole process that goes into it. And so that's our most reviewed burger. A lady once ordered it, and then she gave us a 1-star review, and she said it was like all chopped up in a mess. And it's like that's what that thing
That's
is.
the
like
problem I have because whenever I'm down at Nem's and people ask about the Philly cheeseburger, I have to describe to them. I make sure that I'm very clear that it's like American Philly cheese style chopped up, right? It's very different.
It's a mess to eat. Like we literally wrap it in a piece of paper on the bottom side of it so that the food doesn't drop out.
Because
Wait, what is that actually?
So when you get like a burger patty, right? So you get a solid patty. So a smash patty is supposed to be you get a ball of the meat. I can't remember this amount. I should know off the top of my head, but I just can't remember. But you get X amount of grams in a ball, and then on the grill, you then smash it flat. And it should be super thin.
Because it causes more caramelization and it cooks
Right.
faster.
And
The
then-
way the oil mixes stuff like that. So for a normal smash burger, the patty gets smashed, and then after a few seconds, the cheese goes on top.
Right.
And then if you have any extras, whatever, that effectively that should be it. Then that goes on the bread. Done. You might add onion, pickle.
Okay.
Done. For the Philly, you smash the patty onto the grill.
But
That
even the
starts to
way
cook.
Nem does the Philly cheeseburger is unconventional from the traditional Philly cheeseburger.
Yes, to get to the end result because he wants a high quality meat product that he's using.
Okay.
So we use a slightly fattier meat because it tastes better. So you put that on the thing, and then you add the grilled onions, the chilies, and peppers on top of it. And then you add the cheese, and then you like basically chop it up into tiny little bits, like very fast. You'll hear the clicking on the grill, and it chops up into this really like basically like
It mixes
mess.
it up.
Yeah, it mixes it all up together. And then he adds a bit of like a special oil ingredients he uses, like his 7 herbs and spices or whatever. Adds it on top, and it gets up into this chopped mess. And then you have to basically like spoon it into the bun.
Yeah.
But if you would just like hold it like sideways, so like horizontal, all of it would just fall out all over the place.
Right.
Traditionally,
It's
a
almost
Philly-
like minced meat at that point.
Well, traditionally, a Philly cheesesteak is served in like a sub.
Yes, yeah. So you correct. We don't have.
I'll try give it a try one day.
It's incredibly good.
Or you can pay the platinum tier and we can try it together.
I will cut it up with a fork and feed it directly into your mouth.
Okay. $150. Sign up.
So going back real quick before we sign off for tonight, because we're at an hour 30 now. Do you still talk to that mentor? Do you have any?
Not really, because he moved away to China for opportunities. But I always remember what he said, like all the things he said, like it really, I would really like. I would say 80% of me today is because of him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
think
I'm very jealous of that. Not in a bad way jealous, but in like I definitely wish I had something like that to educate me through some of the
it's
like
a very positive
like
element.
like really slingshot me.
I think you would. I think a lot of very successful people in life have had strong influences in how they think and act.
Because
So whether it's like from a parental figure or from like friends.
because all this advice that these people give you, right, is going to change the action because it's going to make stupid decisions, and these stupid decisions will actually hit you like a couple of steps back.
Yeah.
But if you make correct decisions, then this decision is going to like push you forward a couple more
Yeah,
steps.
the 2 steps forward versus 2 steps back thing.
So the thing is, if I did not like had that mentor, probably I would like be like 2 steps back and then 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step
Yes.
forward. You're gonna be like always behind. But if you have the right decisions, like you shouldn't be doing that. Like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, and it's just gonna be like 5 steps forward then.
Here's before we sign it. Here's like my little like here's my like being a mentor, my little golden like tiny nugget of knowledge that I can give, or, of the limited pool I can give. So as someone that's been through that creative field, and then you get a lot of young people going into like the arts fields or the design fields in uni. If you're studying that right now, if I ask you the question of, hey, in your portfolio, what's in your portfolio? If you have to go, and and then think about it, stop whatever you're doing and reassess, right? Really successful people in design don't have to think about it. They just know exactly, like, this is my portfolio. I've got this to present. I've got this and this and this and that, and I can present this. I'm really good at doing, like, I don't know, like product design. I'm really, really good at doing logos. I'm really, really good at drawing this thing, or art and like 3D modeling. If you have to stop and think about what you're able to produce, you don't have a strong enough direction going into any sort of creative art field. And you should either reassess and practice more into what you're doing and double down, or just do something else.
So is it being assertive on the thing that you know you're trying to achieve?
Don't kid yourself, because you get plenty and plenty of people going into these like new design fields, right? I have friends of mine who, like, when they were younger, they decided to learn video game design, which it's a million ways for me to describe why a video game design degree in Australia is basically nothing. And then I go to people like this and I'm like, hey, what do you got? What's in your portfolio? And if you don't have something strong enough to present, don't bother. Because you're competing with everyone else that is so more passionate.
True. It's like a resume, creative. Really. Yeah.
Correct. You'll have people that are passionate. They dedicate their lifelong on drawing things and making things up. And if you don't have that passion in you, don't go in wasting your time on an arts degree.
As far as what you're essentially keying on there is exactly how I feel about it as well. Is I know I'm a truck driver. And I know I've got the northern boards, and I know anything. So I'm super really passionate about all of it. I actually wake up every day and I love being a truck driver. The thing for me was like I've pushed myself in a position where I'm a niche service on call that I'm like, if people need this like a specific like high end thing done, we're the company called. I'm proud that I can be, but one of only like a few guys in the entire state that can achieve this thing, and that people are like they basically need you to do it. And I'm really passionate about doing a good job and the customer service and the results that we achieve there. And it's like, it's not just being a truck driver, it's being like a masterclass of the thing you're doing. And I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of people's opinions of Northern Boards, and I'm really proud of people's opinions of Burger Boy. And I generally wake up every day and like really proud of those things and what we can achieve. And it makes such an incredible difference to, you know, I don't go on as many holidays. I don't have as much free time, none of that. And like, you know, some of the times people, especially the boards, people see that I can be pretty strung out. Like I'm like, it's clearly I'm fairly burnt out here and there. But every new day I wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock, I walk outside, it's freezing cold and it's nice and brisk, and I'm pretty excited for that day.
There's a calling inside of you. And another like little slice of thing as well, like, let's say you're innately an unmotivated person, right? You don't have that crazy drive to be creative, or you don't have that crazy drive out to like wake up 3 a.m. in the morning and do things. That's okay. That's fine as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
What that also means that you need to start being like, you need
Damn,
to assess.
Kang's like a motivation speaker.
You need to assess. I have a lot of my friends that kind of like have wandered around in their life as well, that I've always kind of like try to give like a little bit of direction as much as I can, where that's okay. If you're innately an unmotivated person, right? That's fine. That just means that you have to assess your position and be comfortable in the position that you're going to be in. Does that mean you're going to find yourself in a job where you're comfortable living that kind of job and working what you got? Or you're going to start making plans where you can find more like unskilled labor that pays well, or like, especially in WA, you have FIFO as an option always, if like, you know, able body. And then you just have to be like, you have to be realistic in the realms of what you can do, right?
Yeah,
that's always the key. So if you're innately an unmotivated person, that's fine. But then you just have to find yourself in a position where you're still able to provide for yourself. And you have to be realistic with your expectations.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because an unmotivated person is always not going to get in the same level as someone that's motivated to push.
Or you can subscribe to our Patreon.
Are you saying or? I think successful can subscribe
You
to our
should
Patreon.
subscribe to our Patreon. The $150 tier, Platinum.
But thank you very much for listening, everyone. We ended this one with a little bit of me yapping.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
It's good.
Yeah.
Kang, the motivation speaker.
Hopefully 3 of us have motivated somebody into achieving a goal today.
Let's go.
Yeah. The final send-off is, you know, go do something you like. Go find something you like and see if you can do something out of it.
Yeah,
So-
true.
Enjoy yourself. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Yeah.